Let's talk about manufacturing. But forget everything you think you know. We're in the middle of a revolution that is completely rewriting the rules for how we make, well, just about everything. So let's dive into what this massive transformation really looks like.
Quick question for you. Close your eyes and picture a factory. What do you see? Is it this huge, noisy building, sparks flying, maybe hundreds of people working on a long assembly line? Okay, hold on to that image for a second.
Because the reality on the ground has totally shifted. Yesterday's world of manual labor and repetitive tasks is being replaced right now by AI-powered robots and decisions driven by massive amounts of data. This isn't some far-off future. This is the factory of today. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the three huge forces driving this change: the incredible smart technology inside the factory, the changing role of the people who work there, and the intense global pressures that are reshaping the entire manufacturing map.
First up, let's step inside the smart factory itself. This is where you can really see the digital brain of modern manufacturing start to take over. I mean, the technological leap here is just incredible.
And it all starts with this core concept called Industry 4.0. You can think of it as the fourth industrial revolution. It's this big idea that factories can become these fully connected, intelligent ecosystems. But what does that really mean? Well, it's built on a few key technologies. For starters, you've got artificial intelligence. AI is basically the central intelligence, and it does everything from optimizing the production schedule to predicting when a machine is going to fail before it actually breaks. It's all about making the factory predictive, not just reactive. Next up is this amazing idea of digital twins. Imagine building a perfect one-to-one virtual copy of your entire factory inside a computer. With that, you can test out new processes, you can simulate changes, and you can figure out the absolute most efficient way to do things, all without spending a dime or stopping the real-world production line. And the thing that connects all of this together is the Industrial Internet of Things, or the IIoT. The best way to think about it is as the factory's central nervous system. It's a massive network of sensors on every single machine, all feeding this constant river of data back to that AI brain. This allows for changes and adjustments to be made in a split second. So what's the result when you put all this tech together? Absolutely mind-bending speed. Get this, in one of Xiaomi's newest factories, a brand new car rolls off the assembly line every 76 seconds. That's probably faster than it took me to explain this section. That's the power of this new model in action. But it's not just about going faster. As this quote points out, the whole point of this tech is to free up people from the repetitive, physically draining work. It's about changing the fundamental nature of what humans do in a factory. Which, of course, brings up a huge question. If the robots are doing all that, what's left for the people to do? And that question leads us directly to our second major force, the human element. We've seen the incredible tech, so now let's talk about the people. Because as the factory evolves, well, so does the entire workforce. The initial fear was pretty straightforward. Robots would just replace humans. End of story. But the conversation is already changing in a big way. As this quote from Industry Week highlights, the focus is now shifting to getting people back into the loop, figuring out how we combine our human ingenuity with these incredibly powerful new tools. This shift in thinking is so significant, it even has its own name, Industry 5.0. So if Industry 4.0 was all about making factories smart, Industry 5.0 is about making them smart, sustainable, and human-centric. It's about collaboration, not competition, between people and machines. So what kind of jobs are we talking about in this new world? Well, they look a lot different than they used to. Think robotics coordinators who manage fleets of automated systems, or data analysts who can find the hidden patterns in all that information from the factory floor, and digital twin operators who run those complex simulations. This isn't your traditional blue-collar or white-collar work. It's what people are calling new-collar, and it demands a completely new set of skills. Okay, so finally, let's zoom out from the factory floor and look at what might be the biggest force of all, the global economy. The last few years have completely thrown global supply chains into chaos, and it's forcing a massive, fundamental rethink of where and how we actually manufacture things. For decades, the name of the game was outsourcing, moving production to other countries to cut costs. But now, we're seeing this really powerful counter-movement called reshoring, which is all about bringing manufacturing back home to get more control and cut down on risk. It's a huge strategic tug-of-war, and the stakes couldn't be higher.
But it's not as simple as just flipping a switch. As many experts are quick to point out, trying to untangle these global networks that have been built up over decades is incredibly complicated and really, really expensive. A complete large-scale retreat from global manufacturing just isn't likely for a lot of industries. The reality is much more complicated than that.
And geopolitical forces are playing a massive role here. For example, when global tariffs were put in place, the financial hit was immediate. A poll from Industry Week found that over half of manufacturers raised their prices as a direct result. It just goes to show you how quickly global policy can affect the bottom line.
I mean, you can really see the chaos of the last 20 years right here on this timeline. You have this long period of mass offshoring, which was then shattered by new tariffs, followed by a complete and total supply chain breakdown during the pandemic. And all of that has led to today's scramble to reshore. It's just been one disruption after another. And the cost of all this volatility, it's just staggering. When a supply chain breaks and you can't get that one critical part you need, the cost of the factory downtime that follows has shot up by 300%. The risk of failure isn't just higher now, it is more expensive than it has ever been.
So, after all that, where do we stand? Well, when you put it all together, the tech revolution, the workforce evolution, and this global supply chain scramble, what you get is a completely new blueprint for manufacturing. So here's the bottom line. The factory of the future is, without a doubt, smarter and more automated. But at the same time, it's also becoming more human-centric. Its supply chain is getting more local, yet it's also more volatile than ever. And connecting everything, it's hyper-connected and absolutely relentless in how it uses data. This is the new reality. And that brings us to a final, pretty mind-bending thought. For the very first time in human history, our factories are actually developing the ability to think, to learn, and to adapt all on their own. It's a profound change that leaves us with one really big question. When the tools we use to build are as intelligent as we are, what will we build next?